So I'm joined by Zarina, who is the TML Business Development and Marketing Manager at Alibaba, and Dean, the Business Development Advisor for the EMEA Asia for Pet Care for Alibaba, and Nicolas, who is the TML Luxury Business Development Manager for Alibaba. Thank you very much indeed, all three of you, for joining me for this fascinating session. I'm sure it's going to be on luxury and wellness and how those two things meet in the middle. So it's a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for joining Zarina, Nicolas and Dean.
Pleasure.
Thank you, David.
Well, maybe Dean, you can start us, and maybe you can just give us a little brief sort of understanding for those people who aren't that familiar with TML Global. So exactly what is TML Global and how do people use it and get access to it?
Yeah, many thanks for your question, and again, many thanks for having us today. TML Global is today's, it's basically China's largest cross-border e-commerce platform, and it's a platform that's used by hundreds of millions of consumers to get access to some really good products from overseas. So as we know, Chinese consumers today shop a lot for imported products, whether on beauty, cosmetics, personal care, health, food, etc. And TMall Global today offers a really premium shopping experience for those consumers to get access to all these SKUs from global markets.
Great, that's very helpful as sort of a baseline positioning. So we'll hopefully build on that as we go through the conversation. Now, Dean, you've been in China and working in China, living in China for the past, sort of 14 years or so. You're sitting, as we speak now, in the heart of the Alibaba global head office in the hubbub of 11:11. In fact, we had to ask you to move where you were beginning to do the recording from because there was just sort of so much noise and so much activity around you. So thanks again also for joining at such a busy time within your team at Alibaba in China. Perhaps, Dean, you can talk a little bit about I suppose you as a consumer in China and your friends as consumers in China, what are you going to be putting in your baskets for the 11:11 period to get great products and great prices?
Yeah, that's an amazing question because Double 11 is really a key period of the year where all the consumers in China end up spending, I would say, close to 50% of their yearly expenditures into buying products from brands that they really love. For me, I've experienced today, it's my 6th Double 11 within Alibaba. I have experienced Alibaba since 2016, and what I usually buy during Double 11 for me, it's mainly products from food categories, from health supplement categories. I don't have a pet, so I do not buy pet products, unfortunately. But I also end up having to buy, luxury products as well for my girlfriend, and other types of gifts as well for my friends, from cosmetic categories and especially cosmetics, because cosmetics is a really a key category today in China's consumerism sort of market. Yeah.
Now, do you and your friends all sort of talk about the sort of things that you're interested in, the sort of things you're likely to put in your basket? Is it a big topic of conversation in the months and weeks before 11:11 starts?
Yeah, it is actually, not only with my friends, but even with the employees and my colleagues at Alibaba. We always share, which deals are the best ones to grab before and during Double 11. Which brands we're going to buy from, because there are certain brands that offer more discounts than others. So there is a massive, I would say, enthusiasm and excitement ahead of Double 11 that really pushes consumers and people like me to basically really look for the best deals that we can find online.
Now, Dean, you look after a really interesting category, not just interesting from a global perspective, but especially at the moment and interesting from a China perspective, because I think the growth, since 2000 and 13 has been what, about 300, 400 odd %. So it's growing really, really fast. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about actually what is driving the growth of the pet market in China.
Yeah, so I've been handling the pet category for the past 4 years now at TML Global. So helping global pet food brands, especially the ones from Europe, to enter China either via one of our business solutions, which is opening a flagship store, or it is simply by helping them to find a local distributor in the country that will help them with the launch and expansion of their brand and products across the market. What I've seen over the past few years is actually really in line with the current demographic trends in China, is that a lot of people in China today get divorced. A lot of people don't get married and decide to either live as single bachelor or bachelorette, or just simply as a divorcee that will not get married again. And so there's another really interesting trend as well, is that today Chinese consumers prefer not to have kids or simply just stick with just one kid. And I think that that simple fact shows that today Chinese consumers are actually willing to replace giving birth to a kid by adopting a pet. And so a lot of those consumers today are actually, they are white collar professionals. They work in generally tech companies or very, very high pressure environments. So they will actually really prefer to focus on, having a pet than having a kid. And usually when you look at the Chinese culture, you've got a lot of pressure that's put on these white collar professionals by their parents to have a kid, but they don't want to have kids anymore. They really prefer to focus on their own personal developments, their professional careers, and having a pet is one of the most convenient way to kind of find happiness as well at home. So if you look at the pets today, most of the pets that the consumers would prefer to have are actually cats, because they're easy to kind of, maintain, I would say.
And that's intriguing, because clearly there's been quite a lot of change of government policy regarding family and the number of children that you can expect. But it's interesting to see that maybe people in China don't want to have lots of children for all sorts of reasons, and the pet, in a sense, is becoming a substitute for that. But given that, I suppose, and the many different sort of categories that are within the pet category, there's sort of food, and there's beauty, there's grooming, and clearly there's a lot of sort of luxury opportunities in the pet market. What are you seeing in terms of those subsectors? Which ones are really growing fast?
Yeah, I think in terms of looking at the subcategories of pet, today we say that the pet food is a major driver of the overall pet category. So pet food probably contributes something around 70 to 80% of the total turnover of the pet category. The second category that comes after pet food is mainly pet care and pet supplements. So, since COVID happened, a lot of people had to stay home for sometimes even 5 months. And they had to stay with their pets. So they realized that not only, having a better environment at home was going to be a major focus in the future, but also the health of their pet is now a main focus for all these consumers. So pet supplements is actually the fastest subcategory of the pet industry today. And of course, cat food, because today the cat population is growing at a much faster rate than the dog population. We are seeing that cat food, whether it's wet food or canned food for cats, is also a major driver of the pet food growth segment in China.
Now, it's interesting, I suppose, that we're seeing that sort of trend towards sort of health and wellness in the pet category, because we're also seeing that trend into play for health and wellness right across China for people as well. Zarina, I mean, you know a lot about this category. in terms of health and wellness. What are you seeing in China regarding the trends towards a more healthy and buying products and consuming products that help you in terms of wellness as well?
Thanks, David. The pandemic has really put a laser focus on health and wellness for consumers in China. At TML Global, the health category grew 50% year on year last year. And really 4 key areas have seen a rise. The first one is that since the start of the pandemic, Chinese consumers, they immediately sought out products to boost their immunity. For example, single vitamins like vitamin C, vitamin D, just to really boost their overall protection against the virus. And then due to exactly what we're doing right now, the increase in video calls from working at home and being able to not being able to socialize in person, so being able to video call your friends, the demand for inner beauty supplements and collagen really increased. The second trend that we saw was that in China, they really behave in a very preventative health mindset. They have really different attitudes to health management than we do in the West. And that really stems from traditional Chinese medicine. And this continues through the generations. So products that are traditionally bought by an older consumer in the West are actually being consumed by millennials and Gen Z in China. One example of that would be lutein supplements for eye health, which you traditionally take when your eyes start to degenerate as you get older. But actually Chinese consumers are taking them at a much younger age to combat against the amount of blue light exposure from screen time. The third really interesting trend that we're seeing right now is the supplements for gamers. We're really witnessing this as an evolution of sport nutrition. Gamers are seeking out products like glucosamine to help with the stiff joints that you get from sitting in the same position while you're gaming, but also nootropics to keep your mind alert so that you can be as advanced as possible at the game and be really sharp. But then after that, you need something to wind down, so to help you sleep. So sleep supplements are very, very popular.
I mean that's very interesting because you don't really think about gaming as driving a requirement for nutrition and food.
Absolutely, you don't think of it as a sport, but actually it is a sport to keep your mind so sharp and to be able to play for that many hours in the same position. It's really interesting. But then very closely linked to that, but actually much broader, is the final trend for healthy snacking. So gamers, people at work, busy gym goers, busy moms, everybody who's busy in China, they really are looking for ways to prioritize their health through what they eat. I think all of us are really time poor, and in China they're really looking for things that range from protein bars to on-the-go shakes to even getting those beauty treatments and supplements through snacks. So we see a rise in demand for collagen gummies, niacinamide breadsticks, and then linked very closely to traditional Chinese medicine, there's this trend for punk health right now. So we're seeing consumers look for things like goji berry coffee or broccoli flavored ice cream. So having something that's quite indulgent, but also combining something that's very healthy with it to make it a really enjoyable snack.
I feel very left out now, and amazingly unhealthy, having tried these things. So that's the first thing I'm going to do when we get off this broadcast. Buy some of those products and give them a go. Now, the pandemic has made everybody sort of rethink, I suppose, their attitudes towards health in one form or another. Do you think that there are sort of other drivers of trends within this category as well that are having a big impact in terms of what consumers are looking for and the types of brands and the types of products they're being more attracted towards?
I think, Chinese consumers have always really sought out international products for anything that they're going to put in or on their body.
And what's the reason for that, Zarina?
It stems back to trust issues, to countries that have really great reputations for producing certain things. So, when you think about fashion and luxury, which Nicolas will talk about in a minute, instantly think Paris. But when you think about health supplements, you consider countries like the UK, Switzerland, Germany, who are very well known for producing very high quality products for health. So that has really...
So Zarina, that's interesting. So the country of origin sort of views, stereotypes, maybe.
Yeah, it's very important to the Chinese consumer. And that's really why TMall Global exists, to enable the Chinese consumer to look for products from different countries around the world that they can't necessarily access at home. So yeah, overall, the pandemic really highlighted to all of us, but particularly to Chinese consumers, that health is a luxury that we all covet. They're placing ever greater importance on their health and wellness than even on material objects, because everybody wants to be healthy and happy. And what that means is taking care of our holistic wellness. So really, health has become the new wealth. And China's been driving this actually for a few years before the pandemic even. And it comes from a government level. They have a program in China called Healthy China 2030, which is aiming to stop people smoking, to get them eating more healthily, to exercise more, to live longer. And the pandemic really refocused attention on these topics. But the other really interesting trend that we're seeing in China that's evolving is coming from the Gen Z generation. And it's a new trend called Tangping, which literally translates as lying flat. So it's almost like they really have seen...
I can empathise with lying.
You can, yeah. You've seen the older generation be so busy with their lives and perhaps not prioritising more social activities. So we're really seeing the younger China consumer like reassessing their life and thinking about how they want to spend time. And that's moved the shift towards hobbies like yoga, to gardening, to fishing, to embracing Zen culture and taking the time out to go to traditional Chinese tea houses. So these like slow living activities are really what they want to make time for, to enjoy life. And it really feeds into the luxury of holistic wellness.
Now, Nicolas, you're talking to us from Paris, the heart of the luxury sector globally. And when
Hi, David.
And when most people think of 11.11, they sort of think of sales and maybe getting good products at good deals and maybe now innovation. But 11.11 luxury, what's the fit between those two?
Thanks, David. So indeed, the relationship between luxury brands and big festivals that we can imagine today, we can imagine promotion, but this is not the case in China. So if you have also to remind whether and how the relationship between the luxury brand and big festivals started. So it started really recently, only in 2017 with the creation of the TMall Luxury Pavilion platform. This is our exclusive platform dedicated to premium and luxury brands. So it was for the first time that luxury brands could build and control entirely their fully owned online flagship stores. But on this platform, indeed, don't expect a focus on the promotions or deals, and especially during Double 11. So during Double 11, luxury brands are leveraging first Alibaba's analytics to learn, to engage, to entertain, and to deliver an exclusive digital 360 experience. So we are far from all the promotional activities that we can imagine during this festival. And talking about consumers, we have to remember also that in China, they are not only looking for purchase, but they want to be entertained. They want to have fun for immersive and personalized features and extra services. So that also makes the difference. And during this Double 11 edition, so we have over 200 luxury brands participating this year. So this is really the largest and the biggest edition for luxury brands. And we decided to introduce exclusive services, such as exclusive packaging, payment by installments, pickup services. We have also online tracking for after-sales services, such as cleaning, maintenance, or repairs. So I think here, the extra care, extra services is really key, even during Double 11. So, and I just wanted to give you some example of brands and services we are providing during this edition, this Double 11 edition. So we are introducing face-to-face consumer service with extra product knowledge, triumph demonstration. Vacheron Constantin recently tested the services and invited some VIC consumers to experience that, and it was a great success. We have also Chopard, with offering 2 years warranty and complimentary cleaning services, or Gucci, offering free adjustment service for belts, or brands like Carven are offering free altering and cleaning services. And many other brands this year, like Cartier, Gucci, or Lanvin, are also offering TMall exclusive packaging for some of their products. So you see, it's really about servicing our consumers and having fun during that Double 11 with amazing digital experiences.
Now, I mean, it's interesting that you talk and you've given some great examples of service in a sense, because it's interesting to understand, and maybe you can help us understand a little bit further, that sort of relationship of how do you translate luxury online, because I suppose all of our preperceptions is that luxury and service, in a sense, go hand in hand together, and most of that service is sort of personal service.
It's all about being more experiential. So really our objective is to offer the end consumers the most exclusive and experiential consumer journey. So that's why it really differs from the consumer journeys that we know here in Europe or in the US. And the pandemic has marked really also an important shift to the consumer shopping habits that we can see before with the wellness, also a new habit. It's exactly the same. Since our consumers can no longer travel overseas, they are now looking for different ways to delight themselves, to have fun, to improve their lifestyles, and also seek for new experiences. So that's also the new trend we can see now and to strengthen since last year. And then the revamp.
How important now is, I suppose, the trend that you've just described, from sort of things to experiences?
Our consumers are asking for more interactive experiences. So we have to introduce new innovation, of course, new innovative tools to answer this demand. And for example, I would tell you, we just revamped the TMall Luxury Pavilion platform that I just mentioned before, ahead of Double 11, to be prepared for that, to answer this appetite, this new way of engaging with those consumers. So, and then with the new revamping that we just released, our shoppers can expect more interactive experiences. So we have the augmented reality watch fitting, we have the VR, luxury live streamings, mini gamings. Even we introduced 3D tools for the Marriott hotel suites. So I think it's really, the meaning here is being more and more experiential and to be closer to our consumers. So the brands can reduce this gap between the luxury brand themselves and the consumers. And then we also rolled out a very interesting series of online to offline events, because you know that we are also leading the way in terms of new retail. So the online to offline approach is very important. So for Double 11, we created pop-up stores. We even created a digital art gallery in the metaverse. So I think this is really the trend right now, and held in collaboration with brands. But also in terms of services, experience comes with services and the extra services we provide to our consumers. So the services that our consumers knew in the physical store, now we can bring them online. We have bespoke engraving services. We have also after-sale maintenance and repair services to make the experience, of course, stronger, more enjoyable. And also, in terms of consumer engagement, we are talking a lot about live streaming, but luxury live streaming this year is also very important, and it's a very, very important tool and key consumer engagement mechanism, I think, to build the brand awareness, to drive sales, of course, but to have also this amazing experience. So, of course, for luxury,
how would you categorize luxury live streaming versus mainstream sector marketing, live streaming? What is the core difference between the two?
So to be honest, luxury live streamings are really focusing more on the storytelling, on the brand heritage, the savoir-faire. So I would say it's more educational than sales-driven, that we can understand that most of the live streaming today are really more sales-driven than heritage-driven. For luxury, it's the opposite. We start with storytelling, we start to educate our consumers, and of course, as are important, but here the educational part is more important than ever. That's also a big difference when we organize and we set up the luxury live streamings on Taobao Live, our dedicated live streaming channel. So yes, we're using KOL, we're leveraging celebrities, but we are also leveraging brand representatives from our luxury brands to talk about the brand, to educate the consumers about the luxury products and the luxury environment. So I think this is really exciting. In general, the session is all about the savoir-faire. And you're right that we really know, and we are trying to share from Paris to China.
Nadine, are we seeing any pets doing live streaming yet?
Yeah, actually, that's a funny, very funny, I would say trend, is that now pet owners are using their pets on certain platforms like Xiaohongshu, which is the little red book in China. It's an application for live streamers and people like me and yourself who will open their account and just use that platform to, for example, film their pets eating pet food, whether it's a cat or it's a dog, or even sometimes their own, little mammals, like small mammals, just doing things in their house. And so they will use those platforms to basically really push some kind of lifestyle that they're living with their pets at home. But we've seen also a lot of new platforms coming up that are using these KOLs to push certain brand products into their content. So
that's key opinion leaders, yeah.
Exactly, and a lot of them now are using their pets, for example, eating a certain brand from the US or from Europe or from Canada, etc., and just filming them eating from that brand, and then of course getting rewarded financially behind it. So yeah, we're seeing a lot more of that coming.
Well, Zarina, what advice would you give to people who are thinking, well, actually, it's interesting, it's exciting, maybe I didn't participate this year, I think I should participate next year?
I think the first thing is come and talk to us, come and talk to myself or Nicolas, Dean, find out about what Alibaba can offer, find out about how your brand can get to China. We're here in Europe on the ground, to talk to people and help them to understand how easy it can be. There are lots of things that, of course, can feel a bit daunting, but actually we've got many, many cases of people who've done it. More than 80% of the brands who are selling on TMall Global actually make their China debut on TMall Global with us. So yeah, come and be part of it for next year. It's so exciting.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure and delight. Nicolas, thank you very much indeed. Dean, Zarina from Alibaba, it's been a pleasure. Great to speak to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And we'll let you go back to the madness, the chaos, the planning for a successful 11/11 period. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much,
David.
Thank you very much. Thanks, David.